guys? Welcome back to the videos. This one's going to be a really cool video. We are finally getting the STI into the garage. This video is going to be at the same time that we're working on Luna's car, so I apologize if the timeline is off a little bit, but the STI is in the garage. We're going to start tear down here soon. I'm going to start with getting all the little crap off of it. I'm going to start with getting these lights and this bull bar off of it. Probably this skid plate, all these crappy wiring, all this crappy wiring, all of the terrible wiring on the inside. So we're going to start with that, and then we will work on the engine. But the STI is finally in the garage. Things are coming, and hopefully this car will be running again soon. So stick around, let's get into this. So after a couple minutes, we finally got this rat's nest of shitty wiring out of the car, and this atrocious front bull bar thing with the hella lights. As you guys can see, the wiring is so bad. Literally butt connectors with no solder or anything. But that's out, so we can throw that probably in the bin. So that's in the bin. In the process, I started to remove this, but I realized this is the wiring and relay for the hello horns, and it's already hooked up. So I'm probably gonna put this back to ground and then the other one back to power, so we can keep the hello horns and I don't have to worry about taking the front bumper off to get to those. You can see they're in there, already mounted and everything, so I don't mind the way they look. So for now, we're going to leave them so I don't have to take the front bumper off. But that's the wiring sorted. I really wanted to get that out of the way because you guys saw it looked awful. I'll show you guys. Inside the car, you don't have those nasty switches over here anymore. So now, I guess, now we start pulling the real stuff apart. I'm going to start by taking the top mount intercooler off. That bolt is cross-threaded as shit. You can see how far up it sits. Anyways, now that wiring is dealt with and that ugly piece of crap is off there, let's start tearing the real stuff off. Okay, this section might be a little bit long. This is more so for my own documentation so I can look back on it later. I'm about to start taking out the AOS. I got the top mount off. But AOS, so this line is coolant. It goes directly over here to the overflow. This top line here goes down to the top of the turbo inlet in the rear. This line here goes around and to the turbo inlet in the front. This line coming off the side goes down here under the intake manifold to that little nipple under there. Let's see if I can get a light on it. Goes to the nipple under there. I'm sure you guys can figure that out. This guy with the elbow routes around here to the front. To the front two of the breather on the valve cover. The second breather on the valve cover looks like it runs to the hard line back here. Second breather on the valve cover goes to the rear one. This top line here, this guy routes around, and it looks like it goes to the front breather on the driver's side valve cover. This bottom line here, the third one, goes down under the AC line, under the turbo or the bracket for the intercooler, and to the PCV vent on top. The bottom line is probably coolant. So this bottom line coming off the bottom of the AOS goes down in here to, oh, not coolant. That goes to the bottom breather or the sideways port on your PCV crank vent here. And I think that's it. No, we have one more coolant line down in there with the fitting on it. Let's see where that one goes. That one goes, oh, well, there goes my light. That one's hard to follow. Get my light back. That one goes under. Okay, that one goes to the top of the turbo. The coolant feed for the turbo. So let's start taking her apart. I'm not sure if I'm going to try and take the lines off of the AOS and take the AOS off and leave the lines connected to the block, but we'll see. But that's the routing, so if you guys need help for 08 plus STI, then that's how you do it. Radiator's draining and me blood sugar is low. Me blood sugar is low. Got the radiator draining and I'm low. My blood sugar is low. So I think it's time to take a break. Close the garage. We'll come back to it later. Okay, the octopus, the famous octopus, is out. Everything is labeled. As you can see, I have green tape on everything with labels. All my hoses that I left on the engine block are still labeled. So now that that's out, we can work on the rest of this rat's nest. Yeah, Subaru things. Subaru things, man. And here we are, another day, about 2.5 hours into it. I may have got a little ahead of myself and started a lot with the engine stuff when realistically in this video what I wanted to do was clean up a lot of the little stuff with the car, like stickers and shift knob and this ugly banner and just little details. But knowing me, I'm an engine guy. I wanted to dive straight into the engine, get it out as quick as possible so I can get this thing running again. Like I said, it's about 2.5 hours into tonight's journey, and we have the intake manifold off. I have lots of little things labeled, all my fuel lines. Had to take off pressure sensors, all kinds of sensors for the gauges that are inside the car. And honestly, I should have done a little bit more documentation on how things were routed, because putting this rat's nest of an intake manifold back in is going to be, it's going to be a chore. But we'll get to that when we get there. Whoever built this car did it very well, honestly. They routed everything just in the right places, zip tied everything together so it looked really neat, things like that. So I'm pretty happy with that, but at the same time, it's kind of overwhelming to think that I'm going to have to put it all back together the same way. So like I said, I should have done a little bit more documentation, but it is what it is. We've got the manifold off, and I don't think it should be too big of a deal. I'm pretty happy to say that I think this is the most well-built car that I've ever messed with. But I think that's where I'm going to call it for tonight. I don't think I have anything going on tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll actually get underneath it and get to all of the bolts and bell housing bolts and stuff like that underneath. And hopefully tomorrow get the engine pulled. So stick around for that. I guess this video is going to be full out pulling the engine. I'd like to do a leak down test on it just to confirm that the heads and the bent valves are the issue, but we'll get there when we get there. So stick around, should be fun. So just a quick update on what I'm doing. Finally got a new motor for the compressor so that I can do a leak down on the engine over there. I bought this thing used and I assumed it had oil in it, and it did not. So the motor seized up. So it's been sitting in the corner for a long time not being used. But I finally splurged, spent the money, bought a new motor for it, made sure it has oil in it this time, put it all back together. It's pretty much ready to fire up. So I'm going to fire it up and make sure it runs before I put the shields back on and everything. But had to do some modification with the mounting points because this one, even though it's supposed to be a direct replacement, was not direct replacement. But anyways, should work good. I'm going to fire it up, make sure it runs and everything, and then we will be able to do a leak down test on the engine over there. So I can figure out if it's bent valves or another issue. So let's do it. Well, another update. Bad news on the compressor. It ran for about 3 minutes and then it didn't. And now it only runs if I press the reset button on the motor, and then it'll only run for a half a second or a split second. So pretty sure when that pump seized up, this was trying really hard to spin the seized pulley, and it burnt this motor out. So by the time I replaced this motor and the time that I have already replaced this pump, I'll be into this compressor more than what it was worth new. You gotta love it. So this isn't gonna work anytime soon. Not sure what I'm gonna do with it, but we'll find out. Just kind of discouraged right now, but it's not the end of the world. I'll figure it out. I might go rent a little small pancake compressor so that I can still do this leak down test. Or I might just send it and pull the heads off. Who knows? Don't really feel like working on anything right now, so I'm going to take a break. And we'll come back and tackle it later. Just wanted to update you guys. Okay, finally got the compressor warrantied. I turned it off for a second. We got the air hose ran. Sorry about the mess. But I wanted to turn that off for a second so I could show you guys. Well, I guess with it off, it's not going to really prove to you what I'm trying to show you. But basically, even with like air pressure supplied, we still have 70 PSI of air in there in the cylinder. And the max pressure it could build was 50 PSI. And if you listen really closely, you can probably hear air escaping through the valves, I think, on the intake. So, yep, that pretty much confirms to me that the valves are bent either on intake or exhaust, at least on cylinder 4. I already tested cylinder 2, and it held up okay. I'll put a picture right now on screen. But it built up about 70 PSI. Maybe a little bit less. You guys will see the picture, but it didn't build up full 100% seal. So it tells me valves are bent. So I guess that's gonna basically conclude this. So I guess with that being known, we're gonna go ahead and tear the engine apart, tear the heads off. Depending on what I do tomorrow, I should be able to have the heads off and sent to the machine shop before the end of the week, hopefully. But that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Stay tuned for the next episode where I'll be tearing down the actual long block and everything, sending off the heads, and hopefully putting it all back together, rebuilding it, and getting this thing started. I don't know how many episodes this is going to be, but I'm going to try and keep them relatively short so I can get content out to you guys and not have a 30, 45 minute long video. If you guys do like longer videos like that, definitely let me know down in the comments. I'd be happy to make just one really long video and upload it all at once, but that does kind of hinder me consistently uploading content. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. I really appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you guys are interested in this STI build. I'm super excited to get this thing running. It's not going to be all out like I initially planned, but we do have big plans for it. So stay tuned, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.